The white lion is surrounded by myth and legend. They were thought to appear only once every century, angelic messengers sent from the gods to remind us of the goodness in the world. They are so rare that no one's been able to count them in the wild, but as few as 130 exist in captivity. So this park has been very keen to breed from its male, Rolo, and 3 females, Marin, Natasha and Joanne. We followed Marin's pregnancy and her cub's first weeks of life.
What I find the most interesting on this channel, or on this story on the white lions, is that they are appearing on this time, this age, which is completely rare. Well, I'll cite here. At the World Summit of Sustainable Utilization, where I was a guest speaker, I had the occasion to sit next to a distinguished enviro lawyer from Senegal, who informed me in reverential tones that the white lions were spoken about by elders in this West African community as ancestral beings of the highest order. He told me that they are believed to be angelic creatures, Mondoro, who only take on physical form on Earth at a time of great ecological crisis. This squares with the belief held by the South Africa's indigenous priesthood. Whether or not one upholds ancient African legend, the fact is that the white lions have taken on physical form, and the world is in an unprecedented ecological crisis. The conclusions of many at the World Summit in 2002 was that if we continue to degrade our planet at the present rate of consumption, there will be not another summit in 2012. The opinion expressed to me by geologist Dr. John Anderson is that we humans are in the process of bringing about the sixth extinction on Earth, which, unlike previous extinctions, such as that of the dinosaurs, will see biodiversity loss from which there will be no recovery for our species. Linda Tucker's book.
Well, it's a real pleasure to be here and to have a chance just to meet with you and talk about some of the problems that we're facing. Now, some of these problems are local, some are national, some are global, but they're all tied together. They're tied together with arithmetic, and the arithmetic isn't very difficult. And what I hope to do is I hope to be able to convince you that the greatest shortcoming of the human race is our inability to understand the exponential function. So you say, well, what's the exponential function? In the summer of 1986, the news reports indicated that the world population had reached the number 5 billion people, growing at the rate of 1.7% per year. Well, your reaction to 1.7 might be to say, that's so small. Nothing bad could ever happen at 1.7% per year. So you calculate the doubling time, you find it's only 41 years. More recently, in 1999, we read that the world population had increased from 5 billion to 6 billion people. The good news is that the growth rate had dropped from 1.7% per year to 1.3% per year. The bad news is that in spite of the drop in the growth rate, the world population today is increasing by something over 80 million people every year.
Human population growth statistic. Before 2100, we will have an exponential explosion of the human population growth if we do not do anything.
Let's look now at what happens when we have this kind of steady growth in a finite environment. Bacteria grow by doubling, and one bacterium divides to become 2, the 2 divide to become 4, the 4 become 8, 16, and so on. Suppose we had bacteria that doubled in number this way every minute. Suppose we put one of these bacteria in an empty bottle at 11 in the morning and then observe that the bottle's full at 12 noon. I want to ask you 3 questions. Number 1, at what time was the bottle half full? Well, would you believe 11:59, 1 minute before 12, because they double in number every minute. And the second question, if you were an average bacterium in that bottle, at what time would you first realize that you were running out of space? Well, let's just look at the last minutes in the bottle. At 12 noon, it's full. 1 minute before, it's half full. 2 minutes before, it's a quarter full, then an eighth, and a 16th. Let me ask you, at 5 minutes before 12, when the bottle's only 3% full and is 97% open space just yearning for development, how many of you would realize there was a problem? Suppose that at 2 minutes before 12, some of the bacteria realize that they're running out of space, so they launch a great search for new bottles. And they search offshore, on the outer continental shelf, in the overthrust belt, and in the Arctic, and they find 3 new bottles. Now that is a colossal discovery. That discovery is 3 times the amount of resource they ever knew about before. They now have 4 bottles. Before the discovery, there was only 1. Now surely, this will give them a sustainable society, won't it? Well, you know what the third question is. How long can the growth continue as a result of this magnificent discovery? Well, let's look at the score. At 12 noon, 1 bottle's filled, there are 3 to go. 12:01, 2 bottles are filled, there are 2 to go. And at 12:02, all 4 are filled, and that's the end of the line. But what time is it when the remaining reserve is equal to all that you've used in all of history? And the answer is, it's 1 minute before 12.